Well, it was good to get back on the field and kind of get the bad taste out of our mouth from Saturday's game and get focused on our next opponent. And I think we had a good practice. We were able to go outside today, which I think helped everyone's spirits, get on the grass, beautiful day. It was a good practice. So they're refocused. That was a tough one to get over. Obviously, Maryland's a very good football team, but we thought that we would perform better as a program. And, just getting back out on the grass today it just washes the last bit of that away. So we're looking forward to a really good game Saturday. Merrimack they're gritty, tough, hard-nosed, fight you kind of team. And I think it's really personified by the way they play defense. Their head coach has been, there for a long time as a linebacker coach, as defensive coordinator, assistant head coach, and now the head coach. And they play to his personality, which is tough and hard and fast and physical. They play a ton of man-to-man, bump and run, more than probably any team in the country. They just get up in your face, and they are physical at the line of scrimmage, and they make it hard to complete balls down the field. They run to the ball well. They hit and they tackle. On offense, we'll have to see who their quarterback ends up being. Just like their quarterback took a hit in the second half, and he wasn't able to return, their starter. They've got a transfer from Maine who came in, and he has a lot of energy to him. He came in late, and they were down, not less than ideal situations, but if he's the guy and he has to his start, then I'm sure he'll get a lot of work in practice, and I'm sure he'll be excited to play. So I know our guys will be, and we have a lot that we need to get accomplished this week in practice to get ready to play a good game on Saturday.
How was Nick doing?
He's fine. I mean, he took a hit. I don't know if you guys saw the TV copy. So it wasn't targeting, obviously, and it really wasn't the hit to the back of his head with the arm. It's when his helmet came off and his head hit the ground. It shook him up a little bit. He's recovering really well. He was out there today. He didn't participate in very much, but he did some things. His spirits are great. We'll see where he is on Saturday. That'll be a decision that the doctors will make. That won't be a coach's decision. That won't be a Nick decision. That'll be a doctor's decision.
What about Price and Malik?
Who?
The injuries for Price and Malik.
Malik won't be ready. No, he was out there today watching in a cast. The surgery was successful. Their main concern right now would be infection. If he was just sweating and grimy in a game, and even though they'd cast it, so their main concern is infection, and then they'd have to go back in, and we obviously don't want that to happen. Price has been lifting. He was over on the bikes today. He was in the sun. It looked to me like he was doing pretty well. We'll see, where he is at the end of the day and tomorrow. But once again, that'll be a decision that the doctors make. We want to make sure we're making the right decision for not only them, but this football team and the entirety of the season.
What do you think about targeting calls? It wasn't just your game, but there were a lot of targeting calls on what looked like late slides. Is that?
You're hitting it right on the head. Yeah. Listen, the rule's not going to change. We know it's not going to change, and if it is going to change, it's going to take a long time, as rules do take to change. There's so many running quarterbacks in college football today that are so good, and that puts so much stress on a defense. And when they slide late, and you've already initiated your point of aim as a tackler, and then they slide and lower their head into your point of aim, there's nothing you can do. And if you don't initiate the start of your tackle, there's a chance you're going to get run over, right? Okay, or you're going to get juked out. So you're in a conundrum. I mean, you really are as a defensive player. I went back and looked hard at the two that they called on us. Nick's, I thought, was pretty obvious that it wasn't targeting. And, as slow frame by frame as I could make it, and I just, especially on Durante's, I've been coaching for 40 years. I've seen probably 1 million football plays in my life, and I can't tell you what I need to tell him. I don't know. I don't know what to tell him. And that's a frustrating thing for a coach when you can't coach your player to do it right. Because if I say, hey, raise your target level, well, his target level was high. The guy slid down into it. when I say if he starts to slide, pull up. Well, he didn't start to slide until the defender had initiated, you know, his projected contact into the quarterback. So it's very frustrating. But I think they have to throw the flag, and they have to take a look at it. I believe, and I hope that I'm right, that the people that are in the replay booth are looking for a reason not to call targeting rather than a reason to call targeting, that they're taking into effect or factoring in the late slide, that they're factoring in that the defender has already started his decision to make contact. And if they do that, then I think we got a chance, you know. I also know this, they're always going to err on the side of player safety, and that's the, you know, coming down from the top. So it's frustrating, but it's what it is. So we have to do the best we can. You know, I think that when it's a quarterback that's running, you know, you have to, if you're going to tell your defenders anything, it's that you're not going to get a big hit, right? Make sure you get yourself positioned so you don't take a big hit, because Maryland's quarterback was about 6'4", 220 something, right? And he's going against a corner who's, you know, 5'11", 190, you know, so it's not like the old days where you think the quarterback's the frail guy. These quarterbacks in college, they're not frail guys anymore. So it's really difficult, you know, and I'm sure that I'm not the only coach that's frustrated. I think one of the things that probably would be frustrating to us as coaches is who's making the decisions. Like, who's deciding how we're going to enforce targeting? You know, are these football coaches? Are these football people? Are these people that have played the game? Have they been in that situation? Do they understand the speed of the game? That it happens like this, that it's not slow motion. And, you know, that's my frustration. I would assume, maybe wrongly, but I would assume that's the frustration of most football coaches in the country.
Do you coach your quarterbacks not to slide late, or is that an individual decision by the player?
You coach them to take care of their body. Now, it's a split-second decision, you know. Like we always say, hey, get down or get out of bounds, right? But to say, listen, slide it, you know, 3 yards before you get to the defender, I don't know that you can realistically do that, just because they're coming from all angles, right? And the speed of the play and what you see. So, you know, our general rule is get down or get out of bounds, you know. Steve Young, who I was fortunate to coach, Steve Young did not slide. Steve Young dove. And Mike Vick did not slide. Mike Vick dove. And Mike Vick and Steve Young dove instead of slid because they knew that they were protecting their head. And if you recall, when they played, targeting wasn't a big deal, right? I mean, I don't even know if there's a penalty for it, okay? But they dove to protect their head because they felt they could get under the contact, all right? And the contact would maybe hit their back. You'd never see them slide. So maybe there should be a rule you can't slide, you know? Maybe you have to dive, okay? And then people say, well, then you're leading with your head. Yeah, but your head's this far off the ground rather than this far off the ground getting hit by a shoulder pad. So I don't know. There's a solution in there somewhere. I'm not the guy that has it. I'm not, you know, me complaining about it is not going to change it. Us trying to work through it is the thing that's, you know, most constructive for our football team. Well, we ran the ball actually pretty well. We didn't run it a lot because we didn't have the ball a lot. So I think it was more a function of, you know, we struggled to get them off the field on defense, as we all know, you know, especially in those first 2 drives. And so, and then we had a couple drops on 3rd down in the pass game that didn't extend drives. So what you'll see out of our offense is, you know, balance, when we can be balanced, and we have to extend drives, and we have to get our offense the ball more so that they can run the ball more. But in terms of our ability to run the ball, we ran it against a front that was really, I mean, that's a really good defensive football team, Maryland. You know, they were top 40 in every category last year in the country. We ran it better than the statistics would indicate, but we need to run it more, and we need to run it better. Yeah.
You mentioned a few times that your defense might take some time or would get better as the season goes on. Were guys just out of sync with each other? Is that why? I mean, it wasn't a very good performance.
No, it wasn't a very good performance at all. It was a very disappointing performance. I think, you know, I'd be really honest and frank with you and transparent, is it's tough to duplicate the speed, replicate the speed that you're going to see on game day when you're going against a scout team offense. Therefore, sometimes an angle to the ball that is successful in practice is not going to be successful in a game. And what happened many, many times is our angles were a little too wide, and we couldn't recover back inside to make a tackle. There's a couple times where, you know, we got outran because we took a poor angle. So it's refining points of aim, you know, and it's understanding, you know, immediately that the speed during a game, especially against a team like Maryland, who's talented, is going to be different than it is in practice against a service team. That's typically your younger guys, your walk-on guys, your developmental guys. It's no negative towards your service team. It's just a fact of life. So we have to do better there. We did not tackle well. You know, we didn't bring our feet on contact. We had way too many of the, you know, the shoulder tackles, you know. I'm sure my dad was watching it, you know, pitching a fit, because when you tackle, you open up your chest and you wrap. That's how you tackle. You don't do this. I haven't called him because I'm afraid of what he's going to say to me, to be honest with you. And in terms of our ability to try to be violent, we were trying to be violent. Guys were throwing their bodies around. So it's taking better angles. It's understanding the speed of the game. It's wrapping on contact. It's running our feet through contact. Those are the things that we have to do better to perform better. It's not that we were out of position in terms of missed assignments. It's just we have to be more precise in our execution. And you know, I don't ever want to use the excuse that it's going to take us a while to learn this. You know, we've had a lot of practice. We've had a lot of snaps, and we've got to make improvement now.
That said, how important is it to get off to a fast start this week against Merrimack?
You know, it's always so important to get off a fast start. I mean, there are statistics that would say that the team that scores first wins about 90% of the games in college football over the last 6 or 7 years. So I think for confidence, certainly, it's important to get off to a fast start, you know. But they're going to have something to say about that too. You know, they're going to be thinking the same thing, and they're going to come in here. They're coming off a tough loss with the same type of attitude as we are. So I think the most important thing that we can do as a football team is prepare all week for Merrimack and understand their schemes and understand their tendencies and their personnel. Have a great understanding of what we're supposed to do. But on Saturday, go out and say, hey, we have a standard. All right, we have a way we do things, and we're going to play to that standard. We're going to play the way we play. And regardless of, you know, how it starts, it's just continue to just push and push and push and push and try to be better every time we put our hand in the dirt to play the next play.
Darrell Robinson was your leading rusher, 34 yards. He did have a 15-yarder. What did he do well against Maryland, better than your other backs? And what does he bring to the table? What do you expect from him over the course of the year, including catching passes?
Well, I think that he'll be in the rotation with those other guys. I mean, you know, the first run of the game, Cam ripped off a 16-yarder. I thought Cam played really, really well. I think he's tough, physical. He understands what to do. And I'm not trying to avoid your question. Darrell, you know, you want to have some depth, right? We want to be able to play Cam. We want to get Victor more carries. We want, you know, Jaden Mel to go in there because he brings us a little bit different element, the speed and the quickness. And then Darrell he's still a young player, but he's a powerful guy who is multi-talented, and he does have some burst. And I think you talking about the run that he made late. You know, you get a team and it's later in a game, and if you're wearing a team out a little bit, he's a guy that can come in with some fresh legs and pop one for you. The other thing about him is he's just a great kid with a tremendous attitude and a tremendous work ethic. You know, he's a positive addition to this team in many ways.
If you have to go with Joe on Saturday, what did you like about his performance this past week?
He's calm, cool. It's hard to frazzle him. He understands what we're trying to do on offense. You know, he throws with touch. He can throw deep. He's got good leadership ability. But the main thing is, you know, is just his demeanor on the field. You know, I think our players trust him and respect him. And he'll make good decisions and protect the ball. And those are, you know, we've talked about that before, I think a couple weeks ago. What are the most important qualities? You look for, somebody asked that question. It's taking care of the football and making good decisions. So he'll do that if he has to play. And, you know, Tucker will play if he has to play, and Cole will play if he has to play, and they'll all do the best they can. So, go ahead. follow-up?
It's easy to pick out the negative stuff from a game when it's that lopsided, but what did you see that you liked? I mean, was it wide receivers getting open here and there, making some impact plays?
I did like the way that we got open. Obviously, Skyler, made an impression. Even though Easy dropped a couple balls, he was able to get open deep once, and he didn't come up with a catch. And on that curl, he was able to get open. I liked the way our offensive line played. I think they did a good job in the run game, and I think they did a really good job in protection. I liked that, I didn't feel us slump our shoulders at any time as a football team, as tough as it was, it was hard as it was going, as poorly as it was going in that game. And I guess, you're always anxious to see how a team's going to come back from a game like that. And so, I like the way they responded on Saturday, or I'm sorry, on Sunday and on Monday and today. And, that's what I expect from them. But there's some positives in there, and you got to find enough success, right, as you're trying to build, that it creates, the belief that you can attain success. And I feel like our players still believe that. Listen, Maryland is a really good football team, and that does not excuse us at all for getting beat 50-7. But there were some good things, just not enough, and not on a consistent basis.
I meant to ask you this last week, but the new rules with the helmet communication.
Yeah.
How do you like that? How did it work? And who is the defensive player that passed?
Okay, I like it a lot. It's something that I've obviously been accustomed to using in my career. I think it's a real benefit to the game for everybody. On defense, we move that helmet around a little bit depending on who's in the game. So it takes, some work on the sidelines to get it on the right guy. Sometimes it's Coach Brock talking to the middle linebacker. Sometimes it's Dalton talking to, a safety. So we kind of move it around a little bit. The other thing that I really like is the video on the sideline. It's different than the NFL. You see the tablet. The NFL does not have access to video. We have access to video. So after every series, you get to watch the sideline copy of the play from your video guy. You get to watch the end zone copy of the play from your video guy, and then they put the TV feed in as well. And so you're able to watch every play. You could really watch it right after the play, but you'd have to get it plugged back in to get the next plays. But every series, you get a great look at what happened. And it's really good for our players in terms of making adjustments. Sometimes things are happening so fast out there that, they don't exactly know what happened on a particular play. So when they can go back and review it and see it, and you can talk them through it on the sideline, it's easier to make adjustments. Now, you're not allowed to show the officials the replay. I asked the guy one time, I said, I know I can't show it to you, but can I tell you what I saw? So.
That 2-minute timeout you used to have too, but is that going to happen in college games?
I believe it is, yeah. I think the rules that they changed, I think not stopping the clock after a first down, unless it's within 2 minutes of the end of the half in the game, I think that's a positive. I think it keeps the pace of play going. The 2-minute, we always call it the 2-minute warning, but it's called a 2-minute timeout in college football. I like that. It puts more emphasis on game management, which is something that I love about the game, is the end of the half, the end of the game, how are you going to manage the time and timeouts and, try to gain a possession or get a team off the field or operate in a 2-minute. So, yeah, I think those are positive additions. I think right now for me, the only rule that I struggle with is the targeting rule, and I think it's probably always going to be that way, because you're balancing player safety with the actuality of what happens on the field.
Jim, you said you didn't think the players dropped their shoulders or anything, but right after the game, you did mention body language that you didn't like and the effort that you didn't like. Have you looked through things differently since then, or
Yeah.
was your initial reaction right? There wasn't quite the effort you needed or body language?
When I was saying body language, if I was more clear, I would have meant on the sideline. I didn't feel like our sideline demeanor was what it needed to be. And guys from snap to whistle, They were okay. They were okay. Was our effort good enough? No, but I probably will never walk in here and tell you that it was good enough. When you look at the film, you do see guys flying to the football. You do see effort, but we're always going to press that, and we've always got to be better at that. I just felt like we didn't have the energy, the intensity, the passion that we needed to have to play the way we needed to play in a game like that against a team like that, and that was disappointing to me. I felt it there today. Now, the important thing is not feeling it on a Tuesday. It's, you know, what happens on a Saturday when you get the lead or you're behind. You know, you've got to play the same, you've got to act the same, you got to have the same energy, the same focus, the same intensity, whether you're up or down or tied in a game. And I felt like we let it get to us a little bit, and that concerned me.
Some of that fall on the leaders to kind of get people going?
I believe that it falls on each individual to get themselves going. I mean, if it doesn't start in here, all right, it's usually not real. You know, if it takes somebody yelling at me or getting in my face to get me, challenging me to get me going, you know, I might not have it. So I believe it starts in here. And then I believe, yeah, leaders can enhance that, right? But, you know, we're still identifying who some of the leaders are. And then the other thing is, in this day and age, with this generation, there's less interaction. You know, they're on their phones more, right? And I mean, you'll see guys sitting at a table and everyone will be on their phone rather than talking to each other. I might be texting you even though we're sitting right here and we could talk, right? And so I think it falls on us and on me to teach them how to lead, how to challenge each other in a demanding way that's not demeaning, condescending, attacking. And we had that conversation on Sunday night. You know, how do you talk to your teammate when things aren't going well? And in order to talk to your teammate, you have to have earned the right to talk to them and have them trust you. So are your actions every single day demonstrating what you're asking your teammate to behave like? So, you know, listen, we're in college and these are young men, and there's a lot of lessons we have to teach them other than just how to line up and run a play. Good question. Okay, thank you.
I'm just asking you said you saw the effort, the extra energy on practice day today.
Yeah.
Do you know what's in these guys to bring it out in a game, or is that still to be determined?
Well, it's to be determined until I see it, until we do it, until you see it, until everyone sees it and everyone feels it. Do I believe it's in there? Yes, I do. I do. I do. You know, but yes, you have to see it. And they have to see it, and they have to feel it. And I believe that they will. I believe they will.
Based on the expectation just for what you expect from the team this Saturday in terms of result, you're playing an FCS team, expecting to win.
You know, here's the thing, is when you start talking about we expect to win or win by this much, what we expect is to go out and play the very best football we are capable of playing. I think that's what you have to do. We're going to prepare this week as hard as we can, and then we're having the objective of going out on Saturday and playing every play to our maximum potential, every single play, you know. And if we do that, then, you know, we have an opportunity to have a positive result. And if we don't, it could be tough. So, you know, I think that's the best way to approach any game, is just keep it, you know, be where you are, you know, and focus on the things you can control. Don't worry about the result. You know, I guess they call it the process. I call it, hey, this is the way we're going to do things. So that's a good question. They were all good questions. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.